listening to On the Couch with Carly. Carly's couch is a safe space to talk. I'm a psychologist, but I'm not your pipe-smoking, tweed-wearing stereotype. Hello, and welcome back to On the Couch with Carly. Today, I want to talk to you about something that feels like the most universal principle that guides me in my life. Something that feels like the most fundamental truth about being human. And that is the topic of love. So, to me, therapy is love. Doing the work that I do, working with people the way I do, is about being aligned with what I believe is the fundamental organizing principle of humanity, which is that we connect to each other through the sort of highway, the transmission of love going between two individuals. And that love is a feeling, but it's also an energy, and it's also a experience of the beyond, what lies beyond, what some people would call God, what some people describe as faith, others describe it as mystery or nature or truth. To me, it's love. Love is what connects us all. And when we tap into it, when we fall against it, when we lean up against it, when we allow it to move through us, I believe we are in tune with our nature. And I believe that the systems of religion and other cultural systems that we ascribe to, that claim to be about God, are often not loving in their nature. They're not about what I believe is the experience of universal love. They're about control. They're about telling individuals how to live, what to do, what not to do, and who they can love, who they can't love, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And they teach this by using fear as an organizing principle. And human beings are sensitive, and we are just as capable of connecting to love and allowing love to be the principle through which we move through the world and the value that we hold. But we are also just as sensitive and just as vulnerable to having fear being what dominates us, what predicts our behavior, what organizes us, what we organize around. And so I believe that many systems are unfortunately more interested in making you afraid, making you think that you're in danger, making you believe that certain others, certain groups, certain experiences need to be feared because you are at risk. And then they tell you that you need to follow what they offer as a way of staying safe. And I think that's the opposite of love. I think love is not about control. It's not about fear. Love is about acceptance. Love is about allowing. And I really feel like that is what therapy is often for people, is a space where they get to meet themselves in an environment, in a context that is accepting and allowing of who they are and how they show up, without there being this feeling of having to contort or conform to any external idea of who they should be. And that is love. That when we feel loved, we blossom like little flowers. And I see beautiful things around me all the time that remind me of love, that show me that love exists, that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And a really silly example that I think most South Africans will understand is my belief in the Springboks, our national rugby team, who have triumphed over the last few years in the most magnificent ways. And I believe we are the champions, not just because we're an excellent rugby team and that we have an excellent coach who is very strategic and has understood the game masterfully. I also believe he teaches love. I believe he is a love leader. I believe he leads via love. If you've ever watched the documentary Chasing the Sun, you will know what I mean. He cries about his players. He feels the lives of his players. I'm talking about Rassie now. In his heart. And the players, part of what their magic is, part of what their alchemy is together as a team is that they love each other and they love South Africa. And South Africans love South Africa, and not in a patriotic way where we're sort of nationalistic and want to be the best and, or push other people down or win the wars, but in a truly loving way, in that we actually, our hearts feel warm and full when we think about South Africa. We think about ourselves lovingly, and we feel connected to one another, even though we're different, even though we might have different cultures, might have different economic statuses, traumas. We still recognize that we are something, that we belong together, that we are something that is united. And I believe we are united through love. And I believe that's what makes us win, is that we love ourselves and each other and this country more than most people love their countries. The other thing I want to speak about is how I see love in relationships. I see how people are loving towards each other. I see how people who've been hurt, people who've been parented in ways that hurt them, come to be parents who take care of their children, who love their children, who are not perfect but are still loving. I'm always amazed at people who get hurt and are heartbroken and who get rejected and stay open to love, and who believe that the next, around the next corner might be another love story for them. I believe that that is maybe our natural way of being, that we are actually able to stay open even when we're hurt, even when we're wounded. I love these flawed characters in movies that we watch with such interest because they're not perfect, and yet they fumble their way towards love, towards connection, and we see ourselves in them. So I just want to say, from my little mushy therapist heart to yours, try to remind yourself that you are a loving being. You were put on this planet to be a human being, to love yourself, each other, those around you, the nature around you. That's our nature. We are naturally loving creatures. We have to be taught to be fit to fear. And anyone who teaches you to fear, to live your life in fear and not to live your life with love in your heart, don't listen to those people. Turn away from that. Come back to lessons of love, and you will most likely be well served by that. Yours in love. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to On the Couch with Carly. If something in this episode resonated with you or made you feel less alone, that means the world to me. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now in video format on YouTube. For exclusive content and resources, visit our website at onthecouchwithcarly.com. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider leaving a rating or review. It really does help others discover our safe space for authentic conversation. Until next time, please take good care of yourself. I can't wait to be back on the couch with you again.